John, what more details do you have, and what can you tell us about Ismail Haniyeh?
Well, Catherine, this is huge news, obviously. The significance of this is that within the space of a few hours, a key Hezbollah leader, Fouad Shukr, has been killed in Beirut, and in Tehran now, the Hamas chief, Ismail Haniyeh, has been killed. So, in my view, I've just spent a lot of time in the region, in Iran, Lebanon and Israel. I think this is the beginning of the next phase. I think it's now really notched up dramatically, and Iran now will make the decision, do we have a calibrated response to this, or is it all-out war? And I think in Tehran now, from talking to people there a couple of weeks ago, they will be thinking now of activating Hezbollah, of all-out war. What that means is, and I'm not saying it will happen, because neither Iran nor Israel at the moment wants a full-scale war, but Iran will respond in a pretty brutal way, because not only has the Hamas chief been killed, but he's been killed in Iran, in Tehran, on their land, a day after meeting the supreme leader of Iran. He was there for the inauguration of the new Iranian president, Pezeshkian, and he was in his house or his residence when he was killed. The Israelis, of course, haven't and won't claim responsibility. They never do. But the fact that the message from whoever did this is, to someone like him, is you can run, but you can't hide. Now, it's important to note he's not the military commander in Gaza of Hamas. That's Yahya Sinwar, who still is, if you like, on the loose, hasn't been caught or killed by the Israelis. But this is the political leader. This is the international face of Hamas, killed, dead in Iran.
He was also the negotiator in Gaza ceasefire talks. I mean, does that now stand aside because you're looking at the proposition of the potential all-out war, as you say?
Look, I think that any ceasefire, and it was slowly nudging towards a possible ceasefire deal, in my assessment, any idea of a ceasefire now is off. Look at it from the point of view now of the Hamas negotiators, because Ismail Haniyeh lives in Qatar. Yeah, he was visiting Iran. The message to the other negotiators is, we were on the brink of a ceasefire, and they were very close. The Americans thought they were within days. Someone has now shot dead our key negotiator. And they will say it's the Israelis, we cannot now make a peace deal with you. So the thing to watch will be those 150,000 or so missiles along the south of Lebanon, south of the Litani River. We talked about it the other day. They're all pointing towards Israel. The key decision now for the supreme leader in Iran is, do we activate Hezbollah full-time? So far, for the last few months, it's been tit for tat. Terrible. All the children killed the other day. By the way, Hezbollah denies that they're involved in that, which is slightly unusual, because Hezbollah normally claims any...
In Golan Heights, is that what
that's in the Golan Heights, which is occupied by Israel, Syrian territory originally. And now Hezbollah has denied that. Whether or not that denial is true, what we now know is that the key military advisor, the Hezbollah, is dead. Fouad Shukr, and he was killed in Beirut overnight. He was the key military advisor to Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah. And he has emerged in recent years as the key hard man. He oversaw purchases of drones, unmanned flying vehicles. He was in charge of overseeing a lot of the weapons that were coming in from Iran through to Hezbollah on the border. He's now dead, although it has not been confirmed. It's pretty clear he's been killed, or at least injured. He was in the building that was hit last night. And it's clear, though, the Revolutionary Guard in Iran has said that Ismail Haniyeh is dead. OK, so a couple of questions here. What does this mean initially for the future of Hezbollah and Hamas? And I'll get you to answer that first. Well, in a way now it locks in Hezbollah and Hamas more than ever. Right. There's been a slight reluctance by Hezbollah to have a full-scale war to support Hamas. Firstly, they're from different parts of Islam. The Hamas in Gaza are Sunni Muslims. Hezbollah, of course, are Shia Muslims. But they've been brought together by the war. But Hezbollah's response so far has been muted. But now that a Hezbollah person has been targeted in Beirut, a commander, and the killing of Ismail Haniyeh in Iran now really locks the two in together. It doesn't mean there'll be a full-scale war, but if ever I've seen the ingredients of a big war in the Middle East, this is it.
And what would a coordinated approach by these two groups look like if they were indeed to engage?
The coordinated attack will look like Iran gives the signal to its proxy Hezbollah to start unleashing those 150,000 missiles, which are hidden away in mountains and caves and whatever. They're hard to find. And it could mean unleashing, say, 10,000 at a time. That's, in a way, that's Israel's nightmare, because Israel has the Iron Dome computer system, which is state-of-the-art. It's the best in the world. But it can handle 10 or 15 or 20 missiles. It can't handle 10,000 missiles. The other thing, the reason Hezbollah is the key to whether there's a war in the Middle East, Hezbollah is 10 or 20 times more formidable than Hamas. Hezbollah, their fighters have just been in Syria. They've had big victories in Syria in support of Bashar al-Assad. They're battle-hardened. They're well-armed, they're well-trained, they're well-funded by Iran. They go to Iran for training. General Soleimani, the famous Iranian general who was shot dead by Donald Trump's military, they hit him with a drone. He would go to Lebanon and train Hezbollah, oversee them. So a full-scale war. In a way, the war in Gaza was coming to a close, just as this second front might in fact implode.
Okay, so how would the Israel be warning its citizens about a potential threat? You mentioned the Iron Dome can only cope with so much.
Well, the other interesting thing from the point of view of Israelis is that they are now feeling more under attack than ever. When I was there a week and a half ago, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was staying at a hotel right on the beach in Tel Aviv. Massive explosion just down couple hundred metres away near the US consulate. That was a drone from the Houthis in Yemen. So Israelis are already feeling they're under siege. Israelis know how formidable Hezbollah is. They had a war with them in 2006. It was more or less, nobody really won the war. And they know Hezbollah has a lot of the Iranian missiles, the Faj missile in particular, which they can fire from southern Lebanon and can hit the south of Israel, not just Tel Aviv, all the way south. Hamas does not have that sort of missile capability. So Israelis tonight will be thinking, dreading the idea that this could be the next big war.
And just very briefly, John, the war in Gaza, where does it leave that?
Well, Israel won't want to be fighting on the two fronts at the one time. So Israel will want that to come to an end. But the key negotiator for Hamas is now dead.
An extraordinary development in the last hour or so. John Lyon, thank you.
Thank you.